The Chicago Bears head west this week with the mission of keeping their momentum alive as they prepare to face the Las Vegas Raiders in what is shaping up to be a crucial early season matchup. Both teams step into this contest carrying a 1-2 record, and both know the weight of what is on the line. You cannot afford to sink to 1-3 in the National Football League because once you start sliding down that hill, it becomes a serious battle to claw your way back. For Chicago, last week's win was a must, and it kept the season on track. Now the job is to fight to reach 2-2 heading into the bye week, which would mean resetting the energy in the building and giving the locker room a jolt of confidence. For Las Vegas is the same situation. They opened their season with a win, but 2 straight losses have left them searching for answers. When 2 desperate teams collide, you can expect intensity from the opening kickoff. The numbers tell an interesting story about both squads. Early season stats can swing wildly, almost like a baseball player whose average jumps 100 points with one hot streak. Still, Chicago is sitting inside the top 10 in scoring at nearly 25 points per game. That is a strong figure considering the inconsistency they showed last year on offense. The flip side is their defense has been leaky, ranking dead last in points allowed. They showed signs of life against Dallas, though, creating 4 takeaways and avoiding turnovers themselves, and suddenly they sit tied for 5th in the league in turnover margin at +2. That is the type of stat that wins you football games. Add to that a top 5 ranking on both third down offense and third down defense, and you can see why there is optimism that this team might be steadier than the early panic suggested. The Raiders, meanwhile, have been sputtering. They are 26th in scoring, averaging under 20 points per contest. Their offensive line has struggled to find cohesion, and their young running back Ashton Gentry has not been able to find space consistently. Quarterback Geno Smith has turned the ball over more than the coaching staff would like, leaving Las Vegas at -1 in turnover margin. Defensively, they sit in the lower third of the league, ranked 22nd in points allowed. They held up decently in the first 2 weeks, but were exposed in Week 3 against Washington. Their third down efficiency tells a similar tale, near the bottom on offense and middle of the pack on defense. When you stack those numbers against the Bears' metrics, Chicago looks like the team with the slight edge in overall form, but numbers do not win games in September. Execution does. Injuries will also shape this matchup. Chicago is monitoring a hip issue with tight end Colton Loveland. Reports suggest it is not serious, but whether he suits up remains to be seen. The bigger concerns come on defense, where Kyler Gordon and TJ Edwards both missed last week and may again be held out with the bye coming up. That secondary remains thin, especially with Jalen Jones nursing a hamstring injury as well. Linebacker DeMarco Jackson is also limited, further testing depth. On the Raiders' side, things look lighter, but rookie tight end Michael Mayer entered concussion protocol after the loss to Washington, and his status will be one to watch. He has been one of their most reliable young weapons, and his absence would be significant. When you stack the rosters against each other, the breakdown gets interesting. At head coach, you can make the case either way. Ben Johnson is fresh and creative, but Pete Carroll has years of success and experience on his side, making that a push for now. At quarterback, though, Chicago has the edge. Caleb Williams has been steady, efficient, and explosive when needed. He has taken care of the ball, pushed it downfield, and added the mobility element that always keeps defenses guessing. Geno Smith has the volume numbers, but much of that comes from chasing games, and his recent turnover issues have stalled drives. In the National Football League, games are so often decided by quarterback play, and right now Williams gives the Bears the better chance. Skill positions tilt Chicago's way as well. Luther Burden broke out with his first 100-yard game last week, and the Bears' receiving core looks deeper and more dangerous than what Las Vegas offers. The Raiders have a few solid names in Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker, but they do not have the same top-end punch. Brock Bowers at tight and remains their best weapon when Mayer is not healthy. But across the board, Chicago's group of pass catchers looks more complete. Offensive line is another area leaning toward the Bears. While not flawless, their unit is improving. Braxton Jones played his best game of the season, and Darnell Wright has flashed potential despite some penalties. Veteran Joe Thuney has solidified the interior. For Las Vegas, outside of Colton Miller, the offensive line has been shaky, and that has been a huge reason for their offensive struggles. Defensively, it is a mixed bag. On the line, Las Vegas has the single most dominant player in Max Crosby, who can single-handedly wreck a game plan. But if you remove him from the equation, Chicago's group has shown more overall balance, with Montez Sweat and young defensive tackle Jervin Dexter flashing disruptive ability. That feels like a push, since Crosby is such a force. Linebackers lean slightly toward the Bears, even without T.J. Edwards. Tremaine Edmonds is coming off one of his best performances, and Noah Sewell has impressed with his physicality against the run. The Raiders have some solid play from Jamal Adams, but not the same impact. In the secondary, both teams are vulnerable. Injuries for Chicago leave them exposed, while Las Vegas simply lacks high-level talent in the back end. Call that even. Special teams does not give either team a major advantage, though the Bears cleaned things up last week after a rougher start to the season. For Chicago to grab this win and reach the bye at 2-2, there are several key points. First, keep attacking vertically. Caleb Williams has been one of the most efficient deep passers in the league through 3 games, connecting on nearly half of his attempts of 20 yards or more. That includes a highlight throw to Luther Burden that traveled more than 60 yards in the air, a pass that only a handful of quarterbacks alive can make. When you stretch defenses like that, you force safeties back, you create room for the running game, and you turn the pressure onto corners who may not be equipped to hold up snap after snap. The Raiders do not have a true free safety who scares you, which means opportunities will be there for double moves and layered route concepts. The Bears receivers should look at this matchup with confidence. Second, Chicago must generate pressure with just 4 rushers. That was the formula against Dallas, where Montez Sweat and Dexter consistently pushed the pocket without the defense needing to bring heavy blitzes. Geno Smith has struggled badly when teams sit back in coverage but still find ways to hurry him. He has already been sacked a dozen times against standard rushes, completing barely half of his passes under that type of pressure with no touchdowns and an interception. If the Bears can replicate that approach, they can force Geno into mistakes and shorten drives without exposing their banged-up secondary. Another major focus should be containing Trey Tucker. He is not an every-week star, but his speed can flip a game in a single play. Just last week, he posted 8 catches for 145 yards and 3 scores against Washington, showing what he can do when given space. At 5'10", with blazing speed, he is a nightmare for bigger corners like Tariq Stevenson or Nan Wright. Without Kyler Gordon, the Bears may need to shade a safety his way or risk watching him run wild. It is the kind of assignment that could determine the outcome. Running the football might not be glamorous, but it is another deciding factor. Neither team has had much success on the ground, with both averaging barely over 3 yards per carry. Still, if one side can tilt the rushing battle even slightly, it will take pressure off the quarterback and open up the play-action game. For Chicago, that could be the piece that finally helps this offense fire on all cylinders. And finally, getting an early lead will be huge. Geno Smith has shown signs of pressing when playing from behind, forcing throws and losing efficiency. If the Bears can punch first, go up 7 or 10 points in the opening quarter, they can flip Allegiant Stadium into neutral territory with their traveling fan base and put the Raiders under real pressure. That sets the stage for what feels like a pivotal game for both franchises. The Bears believe they have turned a corner with Caleb Williams showing poise and a defense that is beginning to find its bite. The Raiders are searching for answers and know a third straight loss would leave them climbing uphill all season. This matchup might not decide a playoff spot in September, but for both, it is the type of contest that can define the tone for the next 2 months. As the Bears prepare for this challenge in Las Vegas, all eyes are once again on Caleb Williams and the growth he has already shown in just a handful of professional starts. What stands out is not just the highlight throws or the natural talent, but the composure he brings to the position. The offense feels calmer with him running the show, even when the pocket collapses or when defenses try to disguise coverages. That poise has given his teammates confidence, especially a young receiver group that is learning how to trust its quarterback in contested situations. Luther Burden's breakout game was no accident. Williams has been deliberate in spreading the ball around and giving his guys chances to make plays. Rome Odunze has had his moments, and although there have been drops, the timing and accuracy from Williams on intermediate and deep routes have been a clear difference from recent years. It is the type of foundation a franchise can build on, and it is why fans already sense something different about this season. But the challenge of the Raiders' defense is real, and it begins with Max Crosby. There is no player more disruptive on either roster. He is relentless, and his motor never seems to run out of gas. Chicago's tackles, particularly Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright, will have to play disciplined football and avoid the penalties that can turn manageable downs into long-yardage nightmares. If Crosby forces Williams into constant improvisation, the offense could lose rhythm. This is where quick throws, screens, and misdirection come into play, making Crosby chase in different directions rather than allowing him to pin his ears back on every snap. The Bears do not have to neutralize him completely, but they cannot let him dictate the game either. On the other side of the ball, Chicago's defensive front knows this is a chance to build on momentum. Montez Sweat has started to look like the impact player the team traded for, and if Jervin Dexter continues to apply interior pressure, the pocket could collapse quickly on Geno Smith. Smith has been at his best in rhythm, delivering on short throws and leaning on timing routes. But when forced off his first read, he has shown hesitation and mistakes. The Bears' secondary, even banged up, can take advantage of those miscues if the front four does its job. A player like Tariq Stevenson will be tested, especially against the speed of Trey Tucker. But with help over the top and a disciplined approach, the defense can limit the explosive plays that have burned them in past weeks. The chess match between the two coaching staffs also looms large. Ben Johnson has earned respect quickly for the way he has designed this Bears offense, taking a unit that struggled with identity last season and giving it purpose. His willingness to let Williams push the ball vertically, rather than settling for conservative calls, has opened up everything else. The Raiders will try to counter by forcing the run game to win it, crowding the passing lanes, and daring Chicago's backs to find holes. That is where Chicago must answer. Even if the production is modest, staying balanced on early downs will prevent the Raiders from teeing off in obvious passing situations. On the flip side, Pete Carroll has decades of experience in games like this. He knows how to rally a team that is on the brink and how to use energy in a home stadium to spark momentum. His defense is not the Legion of Boom anymore, but he understands how to keep things close and give his quarterback a chance late. Johnson will have to show he can counterpunch against a coach who has seen almost everything. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Chicago Bears. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. Chicago is stirring the rumor mill again, and this time, the whispers are louder than ever. Sources close to the Bears' front office hint that the team has pulled off a move that could reshape the NFL's offensive landscape. According to insider chatter, Chicago has secured agreements with wide receivers Xavier Worthy and Marcus Williams, two players whose speed and explosiveness have scouts talking and fans buzzing. If these signings are finalized, the Bears' offense could instantly become the fastest in the league. Worthy, known for his lightning-quick routes and jaw-dropping acceleration, has been turning heads since his college days, leaving defenders grasping at thin air. Williams, equally explosive, brings a combination of agility and top-end speed that allows him to stretch defenses vertically and create opportunities seemingly out of nowhere. Together, they could give Chicago a receiving core capable of outrunning nearly every cornerback in the NFL. Rumors suggest the Bears are betting on this duo to transform their passing game into a vertical nightmare for opposing defenses. Imagine a lineup where defensive backs are forced to chase two of the fastest players in the league, week after week. Analysts are already speculating. Could this be the season Chicago surprises everyone with a high-octane, breakaway offense that rivals any superpowered roster? While nothing is official, the mere possibility is enough to ignite chatter across locker rooms and social media alike. Insiders hint that these moves aren't just about raw speed. They signal a broader shift in Chicago's strategy. With the quarterback rumored to have a quick release and a penchant for deep throws, the Bears might finally have the weapons to exploit mismatches across the field. Even rival teams are reportedly watching closely, aware that if these rumors hold any truth, defensive coordinators will need to rethink their schemes entirely. For Bears fans, the excitement is palpable. Social media is already ablaze with mock highlights, imagined deep ball connections, and predictions of record-breaking plays. Whether Worthy and Williams could deliver at the NFL level remains to be seen, but the buzz alone has Chicago dreaming about fast-paced, high-scoring football. As always, the league waits, watches, and wonders. Are the Bears about to become the fastest team the NFL has ever seen? That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Chicago Bears, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.